First of all, congratulations on winning the Leaders of Today NextGen Series Award.
Thank you.
For our audience sake, we'll want to know what Samanth is, what is he made of? What has he done differently that he got this award? Right. So
Sure. First of all, thanks to HRA, the jury, and Sham for this particular opportunity and having me on this particular podcast. I think you asked who Shamanth is for all. Glad that you asked. Just to introduce myself, uh, of course, my name is Shamanth Nagraj, and I'm basically from Mysore in Karnataka. And but of course, like any other young boy of those particular days, where they would have a vision in terms of probably they wanted to start off their career probably in a foreign location. The same kind of aspirations I too did have when I was also growing up. And of course, the change that was there is probably during my growing up days, be it during my graduation, during the engineering days, or probably when during my master's days, people all looked at traveling towards the West, and US was one of the most sought after destinations. So I wanted to be truly little different, and had made up my mind all the way from my growing days. And in fact, my parents, who are no more now, but they were very supportive in terms of the decisions that I used to take. And that also made me towards looking towards East, that is Japan. So now,
okay.
if I look at where I am today, so I have almost spent around 25 years working with the Japanese industry now, a little over 25 years now. And the journey was the way, if I look at after my master's in computer engineering with a specialization in pattern recognition and image processing with a graduation in instrumentation electronics, I had the opportunity to start off primarily with as a primarily during my master's days, had the opportunity to be part of national aerospace laboratories, and that also gave me the exposure to working with the aerospace electronics and also within the flow solver divisions, and that in fact excited me towards more towards fundamentally towards research and academia. And then on had the opportunity to get exposed uh, to certain you can say to certain project elements from JAXA as well, and which is similar, which is actually one of the space agencies in Japan, similar to NASA. So that in fact made my made me strong in terms of why don't I strongly start looking at Japan as an alternate destination for myself as a part of my career. And somewhere around 99, the late part of 99, early 2000 is where I had the opportunity to start off with an Osaka headquartered organization, and then Mitsubishi Electric being the first opportunity or the client. So I had the opportunity to start off my journey with Mitsubishi Electric in Nagoya Works, in their primarily in the factory automation or industrial automation space. So that was so from then on, it's like it was with Mitsubishi, and then a couple of years with working with Toyota Motor Corporation, and then further made the decision to come back to India, and then was with Larsen and Toubro, driving the medical product development at the Mysore Works. But again, since the background to Japan and myself being a bilingual as well, I can read, write, and speak Japanese quite comfortably. So that, in fact, even during the L&T days, so uh, it also made me get associated with a couple of Japanese projects and Japanese engagements, and then almost had a 12-year stint with Hitachi, working in Bangalore, Delhi, and also in Shin Kawasaki. So almost for 12 years as a deputy general manager, led the social infrastructure initiatives at Hitachi. And I think I would say that that I think gave a lot of exposure in terms of working with the government, the government of India, the local federal agencies, but at the same time working with a lot of federal agencies of Japan as well, primarily JETRO, JICA, NEDO, which are basically the governmental agencies of Japan, primarily being part of handling a lot of infrastructure bids and being a bid manager then, and also driving a portfolio for social infrastructure, being a DGM. So I would say that was one of the most, I can say, a pivotal exposure that I did get at Hitachi, which molded me further up to take on the further strides in the journey towards Japan. And of course, currently I work as the director of new and emerging business at Rakuten, and primarily also spearhead the horizontal of the business development and the program incubation. So it's been almost say 6 year journey with Rakuten as well. So here, primarily one of the key charters that has new and emerging business. So Rakuten itself is quite a big conglomerate with more than 75 plus businesses. Of course, we are a relatively new age Japanese company as compared to my uh, other experiences with be it with Hitachi, Mitsubishi, or Toyota, who already have a legacy of probably 80 years to 100 years and more than 120 years. So
Correct.
we are relatively a new age Japanese company with about 27 years of an history. But the 27 years, the company has been instrumental in diversifying into 75 plus businesses and has a footprint across more than 50 plus geographies. So, as a part of the new and emerging business charter, one of the prime responsibilities that I've also been driving is this is like a startup. This is like, I mean, when we look at a startup, I think the excitement in terms of how you try to innovate and how you try to create or bring in new incubations, I think that becomes the key. And for that, I think one needs to one needs to have a strong motivation to drive that particular, to drive it. So at Rakuten, primarily I'm been responsible for bringing in businesses from Japan and then or from even other part of the geographies in the Rakuten ecosystem, bring that into India, incubate this, spin it off into the center of excellences, and then put in, people, processes, practices in place, and then start driving the products and the platforms from India to the global. And at the same time, evangelizing on the products and the services that we build out of here to the larger ecosystem of Rakuten and outside of Rakuten as well. So it has been, I would say, if I had to put it up in a one-liner, I would call myself as uh, a bilingual leader, a bilingual situational leader with a Japan journey of more than 25 years, who has worked in the spheres of industrial automation, social infrastructure, geospatial ICT, and also driving GCC captives as a part of the career journey. If I had to sum it up in a nutshell, probably in a one line.
Yeah, that was wonderful, Samarth. With 25 plus years of experience, being a bilingual leader, and I think a lot of industries that you have explored, a lot of experiences that you have gathered. So, this also connects me to my next question. So if you talk about pivotal moment in your career, or challenges in your career that has shaped your leadership style, any one of the instance that you would want to recall or you have in
Sure, I
mind.
think absolutely. I think that's a great question. So I think I would like to uh, probably recall two instances which I would say have shaped myself to what I am today, though there are lots of instances. Of course, a very first instance was, I mean, this was sometime in the late 19 and early part of 2000. And uh, Japan, though it was my first exposure way back then. Uh,
Mhm.
Normally, when we look at even time management, I think we all have, okay, fine, probably a minute or two here and there is probably is generally an
Indian
acceptable
Indian
scenario. That's
standard
a,
time,
correct.
yes.
So that's
Okay.
a little bit of a nomenclature that we also perceive. And this, in fact, I would say I learned it the hard way in Japan. So this was in fact one of the instances at Mitsubishi Electric Nagoya Works when I started off my journey there. Uh, I mean, I was just probably late by around you can say countably 30 seconds late to the meeting. 30
Okay.
seconds. It's so of course it was a meeting room where people were all seated, and since I turned up 30 seconds late, of course the group manager over there, he had a very stern look at me, though nothing he told it on to my face at that particular point in time. He basically had a stern look from all the way from my foot to my from my top. And at
Mm,
that particular instance, I didn't realize what it was. But I think after all the meetings were over, I they gave I happened to learn a very hard lesson, stating that the importance of time management, and especially when we look at time management, the expectation that was set up over there is the expectation is that if the meeting is say at your 2 p.m. Japan time, so you are supposed to be seated at least 15 minutes early. So 15 minutes, you are expected to be that you have your agenda and all your uh, scripts, what you're going to be presenting in the meeting to be printed out, kept on the table, and then walk in early, be seated up. And in fact, they have an hierarchical and hierarchy also in terms of the seating arrangements. So
mhm,
which probably one, if not uh, induced to a Japanese culture, would seldom know about it. And of course, later they also told me about the importance of that particular 30-second delay and how the time management is so very important in a Japanese ecosystem. So I think that was one of the hard lessons that I actually learned, which made me into uh, more of a leader who's also a process driven leader, and at the same time a person who also not just looks at the importance of time for oneself, but looks at the importance of time for the from the people who are also participating as a part of. And this is something that I've been following not just at my work front, but also in my personal life. So time management and the way you look at things, I think that Japan molds you in that. So that was one instance. And the another instance is, in fact, this was which molded me into more of a situational leader, as my experiences when I was with Larsen and Toubro, where we was also spearheading one of the medical product developments then, basically for US and the Israel markets, and we were building a turnkey medical product under the brand name of L&T Medical as well. And uh, uh, of course, with the kind of tough deadlines that were actually there, it literally ended up that we had to burn the midnight oil uh, primarily in order to make this happen in probably a 6 to 7 month scheduled period of time. And this was, in fact, I had a team of around 50 plus people. So that, in fact, and at the same time, we had instances where uh, the the customer at the other end also ended up in bankruptcy at one particular point in time, and then they filed for a bankruptcy over there, and then we had a lot of so you had an you so you basically had to you were an individual contributor, but at the same time you were also a lead and a manager who had to take care of uh, the product development as per the medical standards of that particular geography, be it Israel or the US, and at the same time comply to your the Six Sigma guidelines or the SE, I mean SEI CMMI level 5 guidelines locally here. And more so, a situation where probably a customer has filed for a bankruptcy in US, and then at the same time, how you keep your team motivated even during those particular downtimes, and at the same time on stretched hours, very stretched times, and then ensuring that the stakeholders at global level and the stakeholders at the India level are taken into a common consensus during this particular turmoil times and ensure that the team is kept intact. I think that threw me a lot of I can say situations at a pretty young age. Uh, at the late 20s, which made me realize the importance of how one needs to be quick in taking situational decisions, and at the same time have build an ecosystem where you could keep your team motivated, and at the same time manage the stakeholders at the global level, manage the stakeholders at the local level, but at the same time ensuring that we are not slipping off on the deadlines, which has also been committed across for. So that was another key turning point, which made me into a situational leader. So, and I think that has been some of the carry forward journeys that I would
Wonderful,
recall.
wonderful. And nice to hear about how you like actually the example that I always used to know about Japan is that they are very particular about time. Even a second delay is something uh, which we have heard that even if in the metros or trains, if there is a second delay, the TC itself writes a sorry apology note to most of the
True,
passengers. So,
true.
and from your anecdote, we understand that why that is important, and even in the meetings. So that is nice. First, okay, now when you spoke about the team, so what is your style of leadership? I mean, how do you inspire them? How do you motivate them in, in achieving the excellence or during the challenging times? So if, let's say if your team is stuck into a, some project and, what makes you push them, towards their goal and they happily do it. So how do you handle that? Or how do you tackle it?
I mean, thanks a lot. It's a great question, Sham. And first of all, the way I would say is what I practice is first believe in your team. I think that's the most fundamental thing. For me, I mean, the outcome and the deliverables are secondary. Yes, it's important, but for me, it's the trust and the relationship is what I strongly believe in. And this is something that I've also learned as a part of my learning journey, as a part of my career in Japan, and also the couple of I mean, the many years that I have also worked with the Japanese ecosystem. First is instilling trust and relationship in the team. That's the most fundamental thing. Second thing is when you are trying to instill the confidence and the trust in the team, don't ever micromanage them. That's the first thing. So I think primarily, if we are able to convey what our mission and the purpose is, because when we talk about even a new and emerging business and Rakuten, I mean, of course, we have our own global visions, and that vision also transcends into the local captives over here. And of course, we have a transcending of that at the individual department and the business level. So the key thing is once you're able to make your team realize on what the vision and the mission of this particular department is. And the second thing is every member in the team, he must feel connected to the larger purpose, because normally what happens is when there is a misalignment in terms of, okay, fine, there is people are doing up their day-to-day job, but if they don't feel connected to the larger bigger picture, then I think they start feeling disconnected, and that's where the motivation also starts going down. So it's very important that uh, one of the practices that I follow is I also am connected with the team on a day in and day out basis, and more so in terms of keeping the alignment in terms of the bigger picture. Because when you talk about a bigger picture, it's also create telling the story of what's important or what's actually that is going to be driving the business or the department for the short term and for the longer term, and in terms of what the individual has been working and contributing on, how it is going to be creating an impact to that particular larger picture. So once they start feeling that particular connectedness, the motivation automatically comes in. Second thing is, uh, primarily it's an open work culture that I follow. So that means to say any member in the team, they can reach out to me at any point in time. So there is no hierarchical constraints in terms of that people cannot reach out to me or they cannot have conversations with me. So that's an open work culture that I follow. So that is instilling the confidence in the team where people come and not just talk about the work front. It could be something related to a difficult situation at the personal front or at a home front. So that's also open conversations that are actually happening. So this is also instilling the confidence in the team. And moreover, the other part also is thinking win-win for the team. So it's like there is going to be ups and downs. I mean, it is never that we would always have a success cakewalk story. And in fact, with the kind of VUCA world that we are in and the kind of optimizations that we have been seeing, now the business situations and on hand keeps changing quite frequently. And so one needs to be adaptable to that. And that's where the situational leadership is coming in. But at the same time, being transparent and vocal and being communicative on that instills the confidence in the team that, okay, fine, since the leader is transparent and sharing what's happening, what's the ground reality, that also helps the team to feel connected and motivated. And we also have a culture of ideations, and especially when we talk about innovation and open innovation, in fact, we have ideation sessions within the departments, which we also run every fortnightly. So where the intent here is the team members come and present their ideas. The ideas could be relating to what they have been doing, or it could also be relating to something that they see could also bring in value to the organization and to the business. So this kind of an open ecosystem that we also follow, where a fortnightly, I mean, an entire team connect for an open ideation is also making people feel more connected towards the innovation. And at the same time, we this also helps the team members to participate in our annual hackathon and the rackathon events. So where these ideations are being converted into the MVPs and they're seeing the light of day in terms of products and services being rolled out. So primarily, it's more important, I would fundamentally say it is have trust and build the relationship with the team, and then have think at a win-win for the team. Always look at a bigger picture and be a situational leader, but always be available to the team, and so that it instills confidence and also helps you build helps the individual build a personal credibility also with the team.
Great, great. So, someone just spoke about VUCA and challenging times and ideation. So, according to you, what are the emerging trends that you believe will shape the future of leadership and businesses?
Sure. The way I would put it across is, in fact, we all been hearing about the intervention of the AI and the generative AI. Of
Mhm.
course, now AI is becoming little ubiquitous across. So fundamentally, when we look at what's going to be the what is going to be the next step of future in terms of a short term and a long term, I think we cannot, and each and every one needs to embrace this particular technology. So the digital technology is getting integrated with AI is going to be the future head. But I think we not have to get boggled down with because I think that on one side there is also a thought process that, okay, fine, with the intervention of AI, is there going to be impact in terms of job cuts, or there's going to be a impact that's going to get created for the people who are working on the ground? The way I would put it across is, I mean, we have to embrace it because it's going to be there. But how smartly we are going to integrate this into our lives and into our work culture, that is something that is something which I feel is also how the leader should start thinking about it.
Mhm.
And that's where the leadership paradigm is also shifting towards what we called as, I would rather call it as a digital leadership. Because if you look at probably you had, I probably initially talked about a leadership from a process-driven perspective, then I talked about a situational leader.
Situational
Now
leadership.
with the VUCA, I mean, of course, the business environments keep, I mean, getting predominantly changed.
Mhm.
I think it's evolving towards the digital leadership. The digital leadership is where is of course one is going to embrace a technology, like AI, or it could be generative AI. But at the same time, it's also important that how you are going to bring in this particular integration of these digital technologies and the artificial intelligence into your own business ecosystem, so that you can improve your maybe you could look at your improving your operational efficiency by 20-25%, or probably you could also look at bringing down you impacting your top line and the bottom line. So I think as a leader, with the integration of these new emerging trends coming in and the digital ecosystem coming on board, it also becomes all the more important that as a leader or as a digital leader, look at how he can bring in the integration, look at how he can probably make the lives of the the co-workers more better. So if so you had probably a team investing, say say 100 hours in building in probably building up a certain an epic, and probably you're with probably having something like a GitHub Copilot or probably an AI intervention, probably you're able to improve the productivity of the team by say 35 to 40%. I think it becomes all the more judicious for the leader to look at those kinds of interventions to be brought on board, and at the same time look at how this adaptability is being brought into the team, and at the same time creating a learning ecosystem, because at the most important thing is when we are starting to embrace new technologies, the teams should also be equipped for that, and that's where I do focus on getting the team trained, and so that they are able to evangelize on how they can adopt or embrace this particular technologies for their day-to-day task, or for the larger bigger picture that they have also been contributing on. And at the same time, my role also bottles down in terms of how strategically I'm going to be aligning this in terms of bringing in an operational efficiency or contributing back to the ecosystem in terms of the top line and the bottom line. So if I had to put it up, technology is there to stay, and I think we'll see more interesting things shaping up. And so as a leader, fundamentally, the landscape is more moving towards the digital leadership is what I would call about.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, when you spoke about digital leadership, and I just, I think I heard a podcast or something, where few years back, when ChatGPT was released, there was a wave in the industry that, hey, AI is here to take our jobs. And now when DeepSeek got released, so now, there is memes all across internet, AI is taking AI's job. So when you spoke about adaptability and, the changing scenarios, and that leadership has to be agile and adaptable, I think I can relate to it very well. So a piece of advice for aspiring leaders, what would you like to give to them?
Piece of advice is, I think if I had to say, as a part of one's growing up journey, uh, there are going to be innumerable situations where I think it is not just going to be not just an intelligent quotient that get tested. There's going to be also the emotional quotient, and also the emotions that is going to play out as a part of as a part of a leadership journey. I think it's more important that, I mean, I would not say for any leader also. I would rather say anyone who's getting onto probably becoming a part of a corporate, or probably even a part of an academia. It is the learning inquisitiveness, a continuous learning approach that is the most key. So, especially for aspiring leaders, also, the one word that I would always put it across is, if you are a first time leader or a first time manager, or probably you're a seasoned professional as well, the inquisitive to learn and to adapt is the most important thing. Because uh, probably if I probably reflect on myself, I'm in fact, I've now just embarked on my doctoral journey as well now. So it's like a continuous learning process. And once you start enjoying what you're going to be learning, I think that's going to make things much easier. And at the same time, when you are a first time manager or probably a leader, always believe in your team. That's the most important thing. Because if you don't believe in your team and have the trust in them, I think it's like a pyramid falling apart. So most important thing is have trust, build the relationship, and always focus on continuous learning, not just for you, for the team as well.
For the team.
I think with this, it becomes like, and always don't look at, okay, fine, if probably you want to build a big picture,
Mhm.
it could look pretty mind-boggling. And you might actually, it could also, probably you might start thinking about it. So just look at one brick at a time. So it is like I would say, I mean, if I had to sum it up, it's like when you're probably looking at going, we all make New Year resolutions. And I think we
Yeah.
all look at, okay, fine, I want to go to gym and probably become slimmer or reduce weight by 20 kilos or something. But at the end of the day, if probably you look at it 1 month, 2 months into it, and probably then you lose the interest. So leadership is also like going to the gym. It requires it's I would say that the way if you have to see a reflection of yourself in the mirror to for you to become a better version of yourself by going to a gym, it needs to be a continuous process. Then probably you will see a better reflection of yourself. Leadership is the same. It's a journey, and one needs to be a continuous learner, have the trust and relationship with the team. And with that, I think once you start looking at embarking on this particular journey, just like going to the gym, then I think you will become a better version of yourself. And that's what leadership is all about.
Correct, correct. I think someone will see that the time is running out kind of thing.
Sure.
So one last question for audience, since you have been awarded as leadership today, what this recognition means to you and how does it reflect to your journey?
Uh, f- the way I mean, first of all, as I did say in the beginning as well, I would like to thank HRIA, uh, the jury, uh, for for this particular recognition, and the fact that I have also been one among the top six winners. I think, uh, I mean, I'm really happy about it. But at the same time, what I would like to say is this is, I would say, this has been a recognition for the journey of my 25 years, and which has been conferred to me by HRAI and the jury. And I also credit this to my team over here and also to my family, because I have seen, I mean, families sacrificing a lot. And especially with even as a part of my journey as in the corporate career, and now also with parallelly pursuing my doctoral as well. So literally, it's actually a how can I say, it's more of a time that you can actually have for yourself or for a family against what probably you're spending as a part of your corporate and academic life as well. And I think family understanding this and respecting that and make to create an environment to make that happen. And at the same time, at the work front as well, even if one is a leader, I think it's fundamentally it's the team that is actually coming together, and it's the teamwork and the collaboration that is actually making things happen. So I owe this particular recognition to my entire team and also to my family, without whom I think this would not have been possible. And thanks a lot to HRAI and the jury for recognizing my journey for the last 25 years and conferring me with this recognition. And once again, I take this opportunity to congratulate the fellow winners as well on this particular occasion. And I mean, looking forward to my continuing learning journey.
Thank you, Samal. We are equally honored, to feature you in our list and, your anecdotes, your leadership quotes, the winning, it's, something which you have truly deserved it. And as you rightly said, family and friends and plus, the team, you know, they three are the, I think, one group, that suffers the most, when somebody is, on the climbing stage. And yeah, I think I can resonate it very well, when you said talked about family and friends. Okay.